Player Will.
Welcome back, Visions fans. Ready Player Will here. This is another free match showcase. We're going to put MonoWind to the test. Probably not a team you've seen or used in quite some time. I think the last time I even used this team was the limited Guild War as of late, where they allowed for MonoWind teams and the select mono elements to go against. And so, free match, obviously not a great matchup versus a lot of the new Greatsword teams. Dario obviously is more of a magic tank than anything he can do physical, but Dario does have like a anti-physical counter. He's got a lot of good effective HP. He's got some heal back. He really sets up some wind chain potentials very easily. That he's still a solid tank. It's just obviously not the best for the top end of the game, but that doesn't matter for free match. We're going to throw this out there, see what we run up against. Let me talk through the team concept real quick. We'll look then at the initial placements, which are the most important thing in free match, I've continued to say. But yeah, this is a team that's oriented around MonoWind. They do obviously have the benefit of the 2-in-1 vision card here, of the area attack and the agility here. And so you get a free like third vision card to play with, because normally you focus on the AoE res, the unit res, and the agility for those primary slots, right? Well, I have this Dawn vision card here. This covers the unit attack res, gives them some critical hit rate up. I'm also using for this third one the Fang vision card, which is the reaction block rate, and the Man-Eater 30. There is some accuracy, which certainly does help as well. For sub-vision cards, nothing too crazy here. I'm really emphasizing all three of the units. This is one of the fortunate overlaps between Spear and Katana. You know, there's not a ton here that this card does for Dario, but the max HP is critical for this overall team to get their HP levels competitive to where many of the others are. I do also have the other Job VC here for the extra reaction block rate, some of the light res for clouds we might anticipate, a little bit of area res for free. Overall, I'm pretty happy with the setup here. And so a couple noteworthy things here. I am going to attempt to use the TMR on these characters. It's one of the benefits of free matches that you do have the opportunity to leverage some of the TMRs because you really have hyper buff optimization. You can pick your own spacing so you can see how far you are from the enemy many times. You know, this team, just looking at the agility values one more time. So this is Dario here. He's coming in at 112 agility. He should be my slowest. Veritas of the Wind should be my second slowest at 118. And then Glassy should be my fastest here at 122. And the reason why this is super important to get in here and look at is because there is a unit affinity affecting these agility values from what you might normally see in the menu screen that we were prior. And so the overall idea here is that Glassy is going to move first because she's the fastest. She'll move to Dario, who has the hate, apply that teammate buff. Then Veritas of the Wind is going to move, and he's using the Addison Ray TMR, which is actually technically a giant diamond. And typically the AI, although characters have teammate buffs they prioritize, they will, if they have the opportunity to get 2 units in a buff, that'll supersede their main buff. So while Veritas of the Wind has a teammate buff that covers, you know, a cross shape, why am I talking? Let me just show you guys. While he does have this buff here that does have the cross shape, because the Addison Ray TMR is a diamond, he will technically use that first. And so the goal is he's going to use that on the team, then Dario is going to move, Glassy should then use haste on herself, then Veritas can start using his secondary buffs. And so we'll see if that works out. Let's hit the queue and see what happens. Just while we're waiting, quite frankly, I don't expect amazing results here because let's be frank, not only does Dario not really fit the meta that we're seeing in most prevalent usage overall, but wind units are a little more at risk, with Oldoa being a really serviceable tank, A2 obviously being a massive staple, and all these other teams. So you do have some of the element disadvantages here from what's popularly being used, but no one's gearing for pierce damage at the moment. People really don't emphasize any kind of chain resistance as of right now, and this team really specializes in that, so we'll see if we can catch some people off guard. Oh, and it looks like we finally got our first match here. I don't recognize this player, but rank 188, obviously a veteran. Kadaj, I'm imagining a mono water team here. Hopefully that's the case. I would love to not have mono greatsword or any of those ice units. For all the reasons we just said, it looks like it's a Katana team with Glassy. Very interesting. And they are actually initial placements in this little corner here, which a little more rare in my experience seeing on this map. Most people set up in that more general area where I am, but this is still a good starting spot. Sephiroth should move to Summer. Glassy here is going to grant that teammate buff. It looks like Dario is the slowest in the match, which isn't surprising. 112 in this meta on the slower end. So there's the Addison Ray TMR that should remove haste on hit for all of them. Also increases the crit rate. I really am relying on the extra crit damage here too, to hopefully burst people down faster. This is that magic barrier. It's his aura, which does have some of the sleep res, slow res. Not all of that's really applicable to the current meta, unfortunately, but hopefully Dario can still get one more, at least one more, buff off before we engage. There is Sephiroth's second buff, his self one that has the debuff weakening the crit evade and whatnot. So now you're seeing that Veritas of the Wind will apply that teammate buff. He's not going to move ahead because of that. Glassy should use the haste TMR now, so hopefully she paths similarly in the same direction, and that's the case here. Summer Glassy is going to get a second buff. Which one is it? Ashen Blessing. So this is actually the same one that I'm using. No, that's the Ashen Mont TMR. I don't know if Dario is going to get a second buff here, unfortunately. Oh, he is. Thank God. Okay. So that's re-raised. And the Spirit of Horn is his counter ability that can reduce physical damage. So it's not a game changer, but if it procs, it's certainly helpful. It did not proc there. He got his AoE re-raise. I'm sorry, got his AoE buff removed. Kadaj already lapping people here. A lot of damage coming in here. Dario does have the ability to heal himself, though, on his triple hit ability, so we'll see if that's the case. Actually, this team is pretty weak to pierce. Kadaj and Sephiroth are both negatives innately. Looks like Wind Veritas is already using a jump ability here, which might actually end up killing him. I think I still have re-raise. I do, so at least he gets a second turn here to attack. That Dario might still regen some health if he uses the triple hit. There's the triple train. Not a ton. Oh, okay, no, that's a fair amount of healing back. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Hopefully I can take out Kadaj here early. That's the re-raiser move as well. He's already out of the fight. Glassy will hope... I was hoping for a triple cross here, but you can see we're already up to some pretty high chains on Glassy, which Veritas of the Wind is going to capitalize on for Summer Glaciella. This is the curse limit break coming in. This is going to devastate Dario, obviously relying on that self-healing here to sustain the team. Glassy probably going to die too. Haste removal, that's kind of the end of it. But we'll see if Veritas of the Wind can capitalize here and do something pretty crazy. That's a lot of damage to Glassy. Now, obviously, she has that heal back. I don't think I'm going the distance here, though, unless Wind Veritas can really clutch this out, because Dario's dead here. The re-raise is already spent. Glassy's going to go now. Gives herself a physical barrier. I think I'm going to run out of AP by the time this fight actually gets close, which is going to be tough. This is his limit break, though. This is going to give him regen. This also breaks her barrier because it is a triple hit. Wait a minute now. I might have some self-sustain here that actually could give me some legs in the battle. We'll see what Sephiroth does. Reapplies his self-buff here. Glassy, I would imagine, probably going to... Woven Claws. Oh, misses! That's impressive. I'm not stacking any luck in this team whatsoever, so... Very irregular to see the miss. I'm glad I get both of them in the hit. That's actually big because I take out Summer Glassy means the physical damage reduction no longer applies to Sephiroth. This is trade 1v1, and although I'm going to take a lot of damage here, Sephiroth's also pretty weak to pierce. Oh, but I'm out of AP. I'm out of AP. It's not going to go well. If Sephiroth does another with 7k damage to me, yeah, 8k damage, I think I'm out of it. But, oh, he lapped me. Okay, it was worth giving it a try. Unfortunately, not to my advantage there. Dario did okay. Obviously not nearly as good as some of the physical aura tanks. Glassy dies a little bit fast. Could be worse. I don't hate this setup though. I'm gonna just brainstorm to see if I can tweak it a little bit, but I think the only thing I'd really change here is maybe the TMR and Glassy, where the haste is nice, but if I can get something else here that adds to her bulk or some kind of X factor in the fight, you know what? I am going to go for one here. I'm actually going to go for the Perrine TMR. Now, I don't love this TMR. The CT up on it on critical hit actually is very pertinent to this team, where obviously I am going for some very high crit rates. I am curious, though, if this changes the agility too much, though, that my turn order is now out of sync. So I'm going to check that real quickly here. All right, I'm in luck. Her agility is at 119, which is still faster than Veritas of the Wind, who's at 118. And I'm really approaching this angle because I know there's so much haste to spell right now in the meta. While it's nice to have, and certainly some characters take advantage of it. I know Cloud is very popularly used with haste. I really want to have the edge here, and if that CT can help that chaining capability that I was talking about, I think that's where this team's biggest strength lies. So we'll give it a shot. Also, we'll obviously keep Glassy a little further back while she'll stop to kind of like buff more teammates. See what happens. Oh, we got another match here, and it's against Ash and King Mont. Wait a minute. This could either be Mono Earth, but obviously would be a skewed results. I would hope I would win that matchup. But if this is a mono element or I'm sorry, a mixed element or a rainbow team, could have some very interesting results. I'm very intrigued. And it is, but it's a level 120 Mont. It's a level 135 Jeume, so not fully leveled. But 135 still means that they've used the Antler Honor, so I don't think that'll change the total effects of the match. But already starting off here, I am faster than both of them. The Dario is faster than them. That would seem to indicate to me that that team probably could be tuned a little bit better, a little bit faster. They don't have the initial placement. So although meta units, unfortunately, guys, you're going to see why even meta units aren't a guaranteed win. You really do need to do the initial placements, get the proper team building. All the X's and O's are really what differentiate teams here. It's one of the reasons why I really strive to like emphasize this on the channel as a teaching moment, because so many people ask, what are the best teams? What are the best units? And while you can like generally say a couple things, at the end of the day, the answer is still like, how well can you use them? And quite often you see instances like this where people only focus on the team, and I would imagine they'd be disappointed when they don't see the results they're expecting. That's really the motivation of this channel, is to always, it's always has been to maximize their game experience. And so, this will probably still statistically be somewhat competitive. That's not even the right Oldoa buff. She's not even using the right buffs here. Uh, we'll see what happens. Not took some okay damage there from Wind Veritas. Not crazy. No one's still in range yet. Dario, I would imagine, is going to come out here dual release. Okay, interesting. Some AP down, which actually is helpful. Seals the barrier break, although I don't really think that's an issue here for me. Although Oldoa technically does magic damage, so that magic barrier from Dario will help mitigate the damage that he takes from her. We'll see what Mont does here for damage. I'm intrigued to see him versus the wind units, obviously. I would think it's the limit break. Yeah, so he's at least going to get the haste online. With any luck, I can dispel it pretty quickly because of the Addison Ray TMR here, that he won't be able to get the turn advantage on me. Still gets the unit in peril. I'm pretty happy taking that damage so far, though. I proc the counter ability to get some healing back. No damage taken, although I get the confuse, so that's going to hurt me a lot here. He would have normally followed up with, I would imagine, a triple chain here with his turn, and that's not going to be the case because he is confused. Triple cross coming in here now. Courage move is very clutch. He basic attacks the Wind Veritas. Okay. Worst case scenario, but not the end of the fight here. He is going to take some increased damage here from Jeume. I am curious to see how much, because this is going to be a telling turn with how much damage my team takes, because they're going to get lapped here, where Mont's going to go again, Oldoa's going to go again. I'd be shocked if Wind Veritas lives through this round of attacks. But Mont can only select two. Maybe he doesn't select them. That could be my saving grace here. He does anyway. There's the double hit. The chains are accumulating. He lands the silence. That's big, obviously, on my Dario. I'm going to guess that Oldoa actually is able to finish off Wind Veritas here. Oh, she missed. Boy, talk about luck. That couldn't have got luckier than that. But now I get my rebuttal. This is going to be big here. Glassic coming with the limit break. She's going to give herself courage, extend elemental chain damage, continuation. That's kind of the special effect of it. It may not matter here because the fight's getting closer to done, but this should be big here where Veritas is going to be able to at least do a fair amount of damage because of that chain still. Some of that heal back. I don't know if Dario can really do anything here being silent, so that was a very clutch silence. I think, though, I will last one more round of damage. At least Glassy will. And she can hopefully clutch this fight for me, because Wind Veritas is definitely going down here. Here's the limit. Wait a minute. This actually might take out my Glassy, too. Should be some substantial damage with the element in peril. Could be worse. But she does regen a fair amount of health. That obviously is going to be tougher to take down. If I can kill Oldoa here, I'd be very happy. I do. So that at least means that the physical damage aura is gone, so that in these next couple attacks, Glassy can maybe hopefully chunk away some of the damage. And here I at least have the elemental chain continuation too. That's the wind in peril coming in here. I think I'm still in AoE range, but she's got low AP here, so she may not have been able to use the diamond like she normally would have. 16 AP is still pretty low. Can she use Harvester on me? She might be able to still get some health back here. She does. That's actually... Oh, and she doesn't regen health on it, though. Her second buff might not have gone off. But Spear Ascending, we're down to Courage. I still have Courage. Thankfully for that limit break, but she's going to basic attack me here, so maybe she doesn't kill me. She does not bring me to Courage. Hopefully, there's no counterattack shenanigans here. I use the Esper to finish it and just barely squeak by with a win. I'm not going to lie, for considering how untuned that team was, this was obviously very competitive. That being said, that team really should wipe the floor with MonoWind if you're going fully tuned versus fully tuned. But I'm not going to lie, props to that player. A level 120 Mont, no initial placements. I would imagine the vision card's not perfectly in sync with their whole team being slower than mine. Obviously, the silence is pretty clutch there. It's one of those things that even though Mont is an unearth unit, you obviously still see value there and what he can do to sway the fight. Oh, and we got a fight here, and it's versus Ezog, who runs a very competitive strike team. Shout out to Ezog, a part of Cayenne. I'm not gonna lie, I typically lose to him. I hate playing against him. This strike team should be dead in the water, and yet this man keeps it alive. Very intrigued to see what happens here. We don't see Tifa really do much, and I'll be honest, in the Mono Greatsword matchup that I've played against him, she just gets demolished, but I'm not running Mono Greatsword, obviously, so this could go very differently than normal. I'm not even going to make any predictions other than he is very competitive, and I don't feel good about this. We'll see what happens. So Glassy moves to buff Dario. I'm still going to use the haste removal. I don't think their team is going to rely on haste unless the Bridal Alaya ends up using it. But mid-fight, Ketone's limit break does grant her haste, so that certainly could be a thing to watch out for. You know, my magic aura here from Dario really doesn't do anything. That's Ketone's second buff she's getting online here. Will I use a haste TMR? She does. This is pretty standard. This is one of those units, kind of like Glaciella, Flagberry Glaciella, where the Bradley TMR is just so good. It's hard to take anything or to do anything else here. That's the strike and peril upon hit. They're already in range, so I don't get the second buff off here that I really want for Veritas. Kind of one of the downsides, you know, could I have changed that in hindsight? I probably could have and should have, where I really do want him to at least get a second buff off, but Dario getting his re-raise here, getting his counter ability that can reduce physical damage. I'm not feeling good about this at the moment, guys. The fact that Wind Veritas does not have that second buff. Stag Impact doing a fair amount of damage. I think they're going to kill me in this one single turn here. Katone's going to come in, smack two of them around. Oh, okay, she's going to limit break on Dario, so maybe she can only reach him. But man, I think Tifa's going to come in here and just absolutely nuke this entire team. Dario's at least still alive. I spoke too soon. The re-raise move, because Glassy's on-hit effect removes re-raise. Tifa's going to come in here and just goodbye. 11,000 damage. Unit res down. He is donezo. Glassy. Courage move? Okay. You know what? It's something. At least I went down swinging, but I think Ketone's going to come in here and just absolutely smoke her in the face. Goodbye. Wow. Definitive win there. But again, that's perfect job by him to, I would say, like in this setup where my team obviously doesn't have the time to get that second buff off. The fact that Wind Veritas moves forward so quickly is a massive flaw in my team building here. So that's something I really should look to correct. I might try to go for one more here as a Hail Mary just to see what I can get off. Honestly, you know what? I think I'm going to abandon the Addison Ray TMR here. Although the haste removal is very nice for this team, I really can't risk him not getting his main buff off at the very least. That has the physical barrier and whatnot. And I think for Glassy, I'm probably going to go back to something a little more stereotypical. Actually, I am going to give her the Bradley TMR instead. I think for Veritas of the Wind, I'm not going to do anything tricky here. I think I'm going to just give him bells for the speed. Nope, I can't do that. He's too fast now. Screw it. I'm going to give him the Ecclesia Amulet. I'm going to turn it on, but I don't think it's going to actually go off because of how his buff priority is. But at least now we're not going to get tricky. We're going to go for the most simple MonoWind variation that most people use. We do get an instant match here, it looks like, and it's Shadow. Rank 169 here. There's a lot of shadows in this game. I actually don't know if I know this one. But Summer Glaciella, so this could be a Mono Water. This obviously could be a Mono Red Mage. Could be another Sephiroth team. We've seen obviously plenty of those. Ice and Water, always on the table. Oh, This is a Veritas showcase all of a sudden. So it does not look like he's using the initial placements, but for Water Veritas, that may not mean as much, where some of her buffs are a little more range. I am still curious to see how this shakes out, though. This is still a very, very competitive water team. So this Jeume's going to still move forward here. Unfortunately, the Summer Glassy is faster than the Veritas of the Water, so I don't think the re-raise is going to get applied to Glassy. But it could. It's going to depend whether she has move +1 on or not, because Glassy can move those 3. I don't think Veritas of the Water can get in range. If she doesn't, she'll probably use the buff on Jeume instead, which I'll be honest. Oh. That is the Halloween Lucia TMR that this player forgot to turn off. That is an egregious toggle to keep on. That is a massive miscue for Water Veritas of the Water TMR. I get the re-raise on. At least Dario here will get some benefit of mitigating the Veritas of the Water damage because she is a magic-oriented unit. That's also not a good TMR buff for Jeume. She normally would want her self-buff prioritized. So this is already starting off a little wonky. Graviton Strike, not the greatest ability to open with either here. Actually, one of the reasons why I don't like that ability, it actually extends Glassy's bait range, which you saw there. Her normal range is, I think, only 3 squares away, and that ability is 4 squares away. So typically good to have off, to be honest, because you do not want Glassy missing out on a second buff. So this is already kind of showing some major cracks here. I'm at least going to get the chain started here on Glassy, where Veritas of the Wind's going to come in and get a good amount of damage on her. She gets the heal back, but I'm not going to lie, Dario might do some good damage here. I wish he saved this for a different unit, but this is the Berserk limit break. This is still going to continue the chain to a degree. At least Berserks her. So she won't be able to get the defense pen down ability on my team, which is actually a really nice value add here. But Jeume is so late to the fight. At least she uses this other self buff. That's very important for her self-sustain. Heavenly Wind coming in here, continuing the chain, getting the kill on Glassy. My own Glass is going to go now. I am curious. Triple Cross? Yeah, Triple Cross. Again, that chain damage taking out Veritas of the Water very quickly here. Veritas of the Wind. So yeah, this is unfortunately, I would say, a relatively untuned team. Good lord, that's a lot of damage. Doesn't even have the courage, or the courage got removed from Triple Cross. Man, that I'm glad to take the win, but I was really hoping for a little bit more out of that enemy team. That actually is a very competitive water team. Maybe not 100% of the time, but in free match, I could certainly see some viability. I was even thinking of doing a Water Veritas showcase soon, but I did a Jeume one recently. I did the Kadaj one recently that I wanted to stay away from some of the water units, but I'm going to pause here for now. I think there is still a lot of learning things to see in practice. Maybe not the high-end competition really hope for in terms of facing the meta teams in free match, but still good to see what works, good to see what doesn't. It's still good to get some entertainment value, hopefully some learning value, and that's it for now. But thanks for watching, everybody. Talk to y'all later.